Hi there, good evening and thanks for joining me in this fresh edition of the program. We are inside the residence of the president of the Faco Lawyers Association, inside the residence of the former legal advisor of the United Nations to Afghanistan, the former legal advisor of the International Criminal Court to Sierra Leone. We're equally inside the residence of the president of the Outlawed Cameroon Anglophone Civil Society Consortium. He is a vice president of the African Bar in charge of Central Africa, a human rights defender. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest tonight is someone who has been at the start of the Anglophone crisis. He is a legal mind. With him, we shall be looking at the Anglophone crisis from the genesis to revelation. And with him, we shall be looking at the solutions to the political impasse rocking the two English-speaking regions of the country. Join my guest and I in a jiffy. I'll be right back. You're welcome back. My guest tonight, from all the qualities you've heard, he is Barrister Nkongho Felix Agbor, also known as Agbor Balla. Barrister, good evening.
Good evening, and thanks for having me on this program.
It's a pleasure having you on the inside.
I think the pleasure is supposed to be mine, for me to be invited to a very reputable program like The Inside, a program that I watch religiously. I think it's an honor for me to be here.
Now, Barrister, today you are free. Yesterday, you were in jail for over 8 months. You have been in jail. You were arrested on the 17th of January, 2017. Many say you would have avoided an arrest on that 17th of January. Do you share their view that the arrest would have been avoided?
The arrest, I think, was the work of God. You know, God works in mysterious ways. And I think that God felt that I should go to jail to understand some of the problems also that those who have been in jail face. You know, because there are things which happen in life that I'm a very realistic person, and I think that everything that happens is the work of God. So I always try to make the best out of every worst situation. Yes, I would have avoided it. I might have avoided it because I got very reliable information from the diplomatic services. I will not call names, but I was informed that I'll be arrested on that 17th, like 30 minutes before I was arrested. I was informed that I'll be arrested and then internet will be disconnected. So I knew, and I told my friend who I was in his car that they are good. They just called me that I'll be arrested. But I had said to myself that I would never, for no reason, I would run away from this country. For no reason that I'll be bullied to run away from my country. Because at the end of the day, what did I do wrong? I was fighting, or we were fighting, for the rights of the Anglophones. We were fighting to right some of the wrongs which had been done at Fumba. We were fighting against marginalization. We were fighting against injustice. And we were fighting for an equitable distribution of wealth in this country. We were fighting for our people. Our people. We were just the voice of the voiceless. We were just the voice of our marginalized people who could not raise their voice. So we had to do what we did. And if I were to do it again, I can assure you that I will do the same thing. On that famous 17th of January, I've been in my house the whole day. I wanted to rest because I felt that there was a lot of pressure on me. My father had died in my house. I never had time to mourn my father since he died. So I was saying to myself that by the weekend, I would have time just to take off and then start mourning my dad who died in my hands and was in a mortuary, but I was all over the place, going to Bamenda, going to Kumba for meetings. So that particular day, it was a day that I decided to rest. Around 5 o'clock, I got a call from the publisher of the Guardian Post to have my opinion on the banning of the consortium. I was shocked. I didn't listen to him. I'm like, no, they've not banned the consortium. I said, no, he's insisted. I said something to him. I was sleeping. So when he called, I got up. Then I decided to get to the shower because I understand this country a little bit. Then Mimi of Equinoxe called me that she wanted to have my opinion on the banning of the consortium. So when I rushed into the shower, she said she would call me in 5 minutes. I rushed into the shower. When I came out, that she noticed my last interview, the one I gave to Equinoxe, to her, I was on speakerphone because I was trying to get dressed up. And when I finished, I called my friend and my brother. You know, I don't want to call his name. I don't want him to get it. Yeah, I called him and I told him that, come and pick me up. Because I knew already, I had a feeling that something will happen. And when he came, he was like, he too had heard. It was like, Balla, you have your passport. I think that you should find a way to go to Bamenda. I'm a very stubborn person. So he parked his car outside my house, and I hesitated, but somebody I have high respect for his opinion. So I decided to come back to the house. I took my passport, Cameroonian passport, and I got into the car. In front of my house, it was very prophetic. And I told him that I'm not going to run. I'm not going to go to any Bamenda. I'll stay in Boya. And I said, if not that my father was in the mortuary, I will not bother if I'm arrested. This is around 5:15, me saying that. 5:10, 5:15. That if not that my father is in the mortuary and I need to ensure that I'm there to bury him, I will not bother if I'm arrested. This is what I said. And
in front of somebody who gave you the chance to escape?
No, that was my friend and brother, because I was in his car. And then I told everybody in my house that nobody should go out of the house, that today might be a bad night. So everybody should stay at home. That's why I didn't leave from my car. So I called Dr. Fontaine. He was the Secretary General of the consortium, my closest comrade in the struggle. I called him several times that we had to meet to brainstorm on the banning of the consortium. Fortunately, Fontaine's phone was not reachable. So we decided to drive to his house. If Fontaine's phone was reachable, they would have arrested us in my friend's house, because we had to pick Fontaine, go to my friend's house to have a meeting just to discuss on it. So we took another road, not the usual road from the Chibok Junction. We took another road. When we were descending, I saw a police officer in plain clothes, somebody I knew, one of the commissioners. But to me, it was like, okay. I told my friend, this is commissaire, and we just drove. While descending the hill in Boluma, then somebody from the diplomatic services, one of the embassies, called me and told me that they would arrest you and they would cut off the internet. Then I told my brother that, they said they will arrest me and they'll cut the internet. But I don't really care about it. So we descended, we went to Fontaine's house. Doctor was not in the house, but he was somewhere. He too, I think he had some sentiment. He was around his house. He came towards the car. We spoke. So we said, okay, let's go to my friend's office to have a meeting. My friend had called another of our friend who teaches in the University of Boya to join us, because these were people who were doing the background work on the consortium. Some of the nameless and faceless persons who did a wonderful job. I mean, someday I'm writing my memoir, history will have to give them the place that they deserve, because there's a lot of things going on without people knowing some of the real people who were behind the scene. So whilst we were waiting for Fontaine in my friend's car, I was supposed to meet the French ambassador on a Wednesday. So I sent a message to the contact person that I have a feeling I will not be able to go to Yaoundé for the meeting, because I cannot guarantee that my security is at stake because they banned the consortium. Radio France called me to give a statement on the banning of the consortium. And I told the lady that I'm in a car, call me in 10 minutes time, because I knew in 10 minutes time we would be in my friend's office. Then I sent a message to Amnesty International that the consortium has been banned. I feel that I'll be arrested. All these things happen within 10 minutes. So when where Fontaine lives is like a one-way street. So we were about to leave, then a car was coming, and I was like, which car is coming to block? This is a small road. And they blocked. It was Nana, commissioner, and he greeted me. Barrister, good evening. You are my friend. I said, yes. He said, but they sent me to arrest you. I was like,
the same barrister you met while you were going?
No, that was not a commissioner. I was another one. A commissioner used to be Commissioner Amoliko. So when I got to Fontaine's, it's after that I realized that all the cars around Figaro, there were police, there were security people, because there were lots of cars, and it was a ghost town day. But it didn't occur to me that it was it. So I said, okay. I said, that's fine. I was ice cold. To me, nothing was happening. So he asked me, where's Fontaine? I told him that Fontaine is not around. He said, but how? I just saw you people. I said, well, Fontem is not around. I came to see Fontem, but Fontem is not around. But I knew that he could not buy that my argument. I told him that Fontem is behind the car. So he opened and saw Fontem. And he said, we should get into their car. That is when now I removed my jacket that I had, which my passport was, and I left it in my friend's car. So that's why my passport wasn't taken, because I left it in my friend's car. So the commissioner tells us that we are going to see the regional delegate. All of us, myself and Fontem, we are typical Boya children, not so? The regional delegate, Fontem stays around Santa Barbara. The regional delegate is up and not down. So rather than going up, the guy makes a left. Rather than going to the right, the guy makes a left. And then, I think Fontem overhears him speaking on the phone like that, we are going beyond the end. Then Fontem starts agitating. Like, no, they have kidnapped me and Barrister, they have kidnapped me and Barrister. So around UB, the guys were a bit scared. So they fend the vehicle now that they are taking us to Jamie. So then they had a backup. Another guy joined our car, and then they're taking us to Jamie. So we went to Jamie. It was getting dark, 6, like after 6 a little bit. Then there were people outside there. So we came out. They changed the vehicles. Okay, they put us in another vehicle. They blocked by the right and by the left, so by the doors. And then they told us we're going to see the governor. Okay, we stayed like 10 minutes at Jamie. When they said we're going to see the governor, I knew that from Jamie you go right to see the governor. They took a left towards Small Support, Saxe, Sachsenhof, Tolle, Sachsenhof, and then NFOR. That became a bit worrisome, because then we knew that something bad might happen to us. So they drove us towards the Saxe Road, and then when we got to NFOR, they started going towards Douala. I got a bit scared. I mean, throughout that was one of the guys even asked me that, why are you not scared? Why are you not worried? Why are you not agitating like that? I'm like, you've come to arrest me. Why should I agitate? I had no reason to let them feel that they had conquered me, because the whole thing is a mental thing. You can chain me physically, but you cannot chain me mentally. And I vowed to myself that nobody, my oppressor, can oppress me physically, but will never oppress me mentally. Because when they oppress you mentally, then you lose it. So on our way to Douala, I think both of us were a bit scared because it was dark. They stopped somewhere. One of them wanted to pee. I said my prayer. I told God that, you know what, if this is the end, so be it. Because it was dark, and you know that if they had to kill you, they would kill you. Then we got to Douala. It was a bit, they took us to their office in Bonanjo. Then they had to put us in a pickup. And then they cuffed us. That is when the torture, now the emotional torture was always there. That's when the real physical torture really started. They had to cuff myself and Fontem in the pickup. 4 guys were with us. Then there was a backup pickup driving with armed men. You know, you imagine the Yaoundé Douala road, the high speed, the breaking speed that they were running. So we're like, if you had an accident, you would perhaps it's not the accident that will kill you, but the fact that you were cuffed, you know, myself and Fontem were cuffed behind from Douala to Yaoundé.
So you didn't spend a night in Boya?
No, we didn't spend up to 1 hour in Boya. As they arrested us at Fontem's residence, they were going down with Fontem, created a scene, we left, came to Jamie a few minutes. So we spent like 30 minutes in Boya.
Many have the impression that you spent about even more than 4 hours in Boya. That is why they even came out to block roads.
By the time they came to block the roads from where we had left, we had left Boya. Yes, so we got to Douala, and I'm sure by when they were blocking the roads in Boya, we were already on our way to Yaoundé. So they cuffed us, and then we drove to Yaoundé. It was a very dangerous part of the journey, because I remember that at times, even with the wind, you know, my glasses was falling off from my eyes. I begged one of the guys to even adjust it. He refused. But after a while, they became comfortable, and he had to, because you could not even use your hands to. Yeah, we were really cuffed, and I think it affected doctor's right hand even. He had problems because of the way we were cuffed. So we got to Yaoundé. They took us to the DGLA, the research, external research, and then that's where they took our IDs, took a couple of documents, and then they hooded us. You know, some of the things you watch in a movie. So it was a real life situation. They had to hold us. So they drove us around the area. We didn't know where we were taking us, or we were blindfolded. They took us to a room. They took our pressure, blood pressure, and the rest, and then they gave us something to sleep. The next morning, they got up. They hooded us again, and they took us to the set. So when we got to the set, it was like everybody was all the gentlemen. Everybody wanted to see us. Everybody wanted to see doctors. They were stunned when they saw me and from them. You know, the image that probably like somebody like Chiruma had painted on TV, that these were terrorists, these were people who wanted to destabilize the country, these were people who wanted to break up. So when they saw us, they were like, "Are these? You are Dr. Fontaine? You are Barrister?" Yeah, so they were shocked. Then they wanted to like start questioning us, and I insisted that I would not speak to them until I have my lawyer is around. And they asked me, "Do I have a lawyer?" I said, "Yes, I have one." And I said I didn't have a number because I'd taken everything, my phone, everything was seized. And I said they should call me Ben Muna, Barrister Ben Muna, former bâtonnier, and somebody I've known for a long time. So they called Ben Muna and Muna Chambers. They didn't get anybody. Then afterwards, Bâtonnier Keremuna called. I think he saw a missed call, and he called them, and they passed him to me. So when he heard my voice, the way he exclaimed, he said, "Oh, thank God." So I told him that I tried to speak to Niben, and he knows that Niben is my father to me. And then he said, "Okay, I should wait. Niben would be coming." So he got to Niben. But before Niben came, a couple of lawyers of the Cameroon Bar Association, you know, like Yolande, Dokas, a couple of them already came to Dijanameri to see me. They had already heard. The people in Yaoundé know when you are arrested, where they take you to. So they came, and that's where I think that we had the first picture that was taken. Somebody took a picture when I had a red T-shirt and the jeans. Yeah, that was the first picture. One of my colleagues in Yaoundé. Then members of the Fako Lawyers Association, they came in also. I think they had a delegation, came to Yaoundé, Toko and the rest. Ben Muna came, and the interrogation, it took more than 4 hours. They had all the documents that we had issued at the consortium, all the allegations against us, terrorism, secession, incitement to civil war, group rebellion, and things which to me I was torn. So then the next day, then they get the room. It's strange because the room that the cell that they put me and Fontaine was the cell that Tituches were spent all this time at set. Then the next day, General Elokobi and Secretary Bokam, they came and visited us. They brought BBC Mancho the next day. So they came and visited us. We had a meeting. They said, well, our rights will be respected. Then we were taken to the military tribunal, where Madame Abega read the charges against us and just said, you were charged with this, and now I was transferred to the maximum prison at Konengi Principal. That is the prison where Albert Mukong, if you read The Prisoner Without a Crime, which I read while I was in the university, I never knew that I would go there. That's where Mukong was, that's where Yondo Black was, that's where most of the coup d'etat guys in 1904 were. It's principal a prison for terrorists, alleged terrorists. All the Boko Haram guys, that's the only prison there in Yaoundé. Myself and Mancho was sent there, then Fontaine was sent to the central prison in Kondengi. So in the synopsis, and when we got there, you know, I was in a room in my cell. We had 14 persons. 12 were alleged Boko Harams, myself, and one Anglophone, Navy, who was arrested in connection with a text message that they had sent that Boko Haram was recruiting a couple of years ago. These were students. Yeah. And the Chiruma had said on TV that they were released. They were still in jail. So he was the only Anglophone in that cell. And so I was there with 12 persons, 14 of us. And that's how my life as somebody who went to jail started.
Okay. So you were not detained like other prisoners in Konengi. You were VIP. Because after that, we saw pictures of you in another small room. You were comfortable.
No, I was in the regular cell with everybody, treated like any commoner, like anybody who violated the laws of the country, for 2 months. For 2 months. And I was always protesting to hierarchy that I don't think I deserve to be in that cell. And after 2 months, they moved me. They had a VIP section in the same prison. After 2 months, they moved me to the VIP section. So that's where I spent the rest of the 6 months until I was released. But VIP or not VIP, prison is prison. The psychological and torture, the fact that your liberty is you prevented, it still has a way of playing. But notwithstanding the fact that I was in the VIP section, I think I was the only one who spent 53 days in solitary confinement. Nobody else. When they came to search and they found that I had a phone, which again I was supposed to have a phone, I was locked up. I mean, Dr. Fontaine was locked up also in his cell, and others, myself and the others in our own cell, were locked up. But after a while, they removed Dr. Fontaine from the solitary confinement. But I stayed in solitary confinement for 53 days. In fact, I left even after the president signed the decree on the 30th. I was still in solitary confinement. The day I was going to court on the 31st, I was still in. So I left solitary confinement to come to Boya. Mm-hmm. Yes, so that's how it happened.
Yes, Barrister Nkongho Felix Agbor, while in jail, information filtered that the presidency was negotiating to appoint you as the Deputy Secretary General of the Presidency of the Republic to replace, of course, the late Peter Agbotabi from Manu Division.
Well, I read it on social media that not only that they were, as I think they had already appointed me even, that General Lokobi had come to the prison. That particular day, I think I was out there playing, because I bought Scrabble, I bought football, so that we could entertain ourselves. I had a couple of my Anglophone brothers, so if we were playing our Scrabble. So Atia, Amos and Co. So when I told them the next morning that this was, everybody was stunned that it was a non-visiting day evening, so nobody could even have visited you in jail. We're playing Scrabble, and they said that they had contacted me. To put the record straight, at no point in time, and this is anybody can find it out, at no point in time did anybody in the government contact me. At no point in time did I sign any document with anybody. At no point in time did I get into any negotiation where I read shocking things on social media, at times coming from our own people. That was what was a bit stunning. I think there was a kind of character assassination. It started. Some people who, for reasons that I don't know, but I don't really bother them, because I think that overwhelmingly the Anglophone population, the Southern Cameroonians, were very supportive of us. I mean, honestly, if you saw the way we lived in jail, especially me, you saw the number of people who came to visit me that I never knew them. It showed that we fought a good fight. It showed that we fought for the people. It showed that we defended their interests, that we worked for them. And, the people can never be fooled. And as they say, the voice of the people is the voice of God. Most of them were very supportive in all sense of the word. I'll tell you, there's a guy in Yaoundé that I never knew the guy. The guy came to jail. So they called me that I had a visitor. I went to the office, and I passed the guy. And they said, this is the guy. I looked at the guy. If you saw what, the guy brought me at least 12 pallets of water, about 15 pallets of juice, and then all the stuff. I almost cried. But those are the kind of people that they give you the impetus to fight. That no matter what you can get from people from detractors, you look at the people who treat you the way they treat you. You look at the people who show respect. You look at the people who come to the prison. You look at Ben Muna, who calls me Mr. President while I'm in jail. At no point in time he ever calls me my name. He calls me Mr. President. You look at the able Secretary General of the Consortium, Fontaine, who always calls me President. Even in jail, he always called me President. And the warders started calling me President. And the detainees started calling me President. That is why, whilst we were there, I tried as much as possible to make life comfortable. So we would do charity in the jail. Like during the Muslim feast, I made sure that I bought food for everybody. I bought sugar for all of them. I went there, I discovered that they like a lot of sugar. So I had to ensure that to live a life in jail, because that was the reason why I felt that it kept me going, it kept us going. And the way we would eat, like all of us Anglophones, we would eat. I always had food. We make sure that we share. So we live as a family, notwithstanding the differences. But just to let you know that at no point in time did anybody, myself or Fontaine, that I know, negotiated anything. So the whole thing about getting into government, I think it's a figment of people's imagination. But at no point in time. And I think we have a bigger fight than entering into government. I think what we fought for is bigger than being in government. What I saw whilst I was in jail, or while as the head of the consortium, you can effect change without necessarily being in government. There was a point in time in Southwest and Northwest, we were in effective control. We're not ministers, we're not presidents, but we were the voice of the people. And to me, that's my legacy. I want to be remembered as somebody who stood his ground, who fought for the people, who defended the interests of the people. Getting into government is the least of my worry.
So you mean to say all the delegations that entered into Nkongho to talk with you, there was no such topic as you suspending the strike to have this either a huge amount of money?
There was no government person talking to us. Okay. The people who came to us, the UN team in Central Africa from Gabon, the SRSG's representative came with the team, and we had a meeting on the way forward. Okay, human rights organization came. I mean, the UN Center for Human Rights in Yaoundé came. Other civil societies organization, a group of women from the Northwest, a group of journalists. I mean, all the friends visited us. Nobody, and that is something which, when I read it on social media, it's shocking. Nobody came to discuss anything with us with regards to suspending the strike, with regards to calling off whatever. No, we were not. And where we were, I don't think it was the most important thing for us. Okay? That was not the most important thing for us. So when I read that that told us to call off a strike and somebody said we were not in a mental state, I'm sure in jail we were more informed. I was more informed than lots of people were outside, because I think that even in jail I was still in control. I was still talking to people. I knew what was going on. Okay, I mean, don't ask me how, but I knew it.
Yes, but what about the interim control of the Cameroon Anglophone Civil Society Consortium? Now, did you give it to Tapang, Ivo, and Mark Barretta to control while you were in jail?
It's a very complex situation, and in a struggle, like ours, you have to be very careful. It's not everything that, because if you notice, one thing I've done or I've never done is that I've not gone into, I don't poke holes in when it concerns leadership. You have to. There are things that you have to keep it within. They did a wonderful job. Okay, for the time being, the time that they were in charge, I think they did what they had to do to hold the struggle together. I don't want to go into the intricacies to comment on lots of things, but it's good to give to Caesar what is Caesar and to give to God what is God. They were there for the time being until they left us as interim leader.
Now, as a legal man, you're out of jail. The head of state signed or instructed the Secretary General of the Presidency of the Republic to sign a release asking for the liberation of Anglophones who were arrested within the context of the Anglophone crisis. Not all of them have been released. As a legal man, how can you analyze this?
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. That's why I say at times some of the people who work with the head of state, I don't really know whether they like the head of state or they want this crisis to continue, because let's be honest, some people are feeding fat from the crisis. I mean, some people in the government, both Francophones and Anglophones, not just Francophones, they are feeding fat from it. So it's unfortunate that everybody was not released. We are in a period where whatever crimes were committed were committed within the ambit of a struggle. It wasn't a normalcy. And I don't like when people saying that they burn the flags, people did this. Things have happened, okay? Government have negotiated with Boko Haram, not so. I mean the coup d'etat guys, they were released. Those were people who committed crimes, not so. They wanted to overthrow the government. People died, they were released. I don't see why, as part of the healing process, we cannot just release everybody. Grant general amnesty to each and everyone who is out of the country, who cannot come to the country, to come back, because we need a broad-based dialogue to address pertinent issues. And all of them are also Cameroonians. Those who in jail, I still believe that I will fight religiously to ensure that they are released, because being in Nkongho for a day extra, it's hellish. Let's not pretend. They have families, they have children, they have relatives, So keeping them in jail, to me, it's not helping the state in any way. I think they have, if they wanted to make a point, they have proved the point. We understand the whole notion about the strongman syndrome, but it's high time that they release each and everyone who's in jail, so that we should focus on an inclusive dialogue. We should focus on trying to find a way out of the current quagmire that we are. But keeping them in jail doesn't help the situation. So I would urge the head of state to ensure that within each and every one who is currently detained should be released, and also to ensure that those who are out of the country, those who are on exile, should be granted a blanket amnesty so that they should come back to the country and there's work towards it.
Now, school is yet to be effective in the 2 English-speaking regions of the country. When you came out, your legal representatives in one of their releases and in one point said the leaders were in favor for school resumption. Why do you think that, despite the call even by you for school resumption, it is still to be effective?
No, let it be on record that I've never called for school. I've never made a statement with regards to school resumption. These are things which have to be put on record. I've been consulting with other leaders in the struggle. I've been consulting with Seseko, I consulted with Tassa, I consulted with others in the diaspora on how we can find a way out of this crisis, on how we can find, whilst we can still continue the struggle, but whilst ensuring that, you know, our people don't suffer a lot.
So you didn't give your accord for that statement to be written on that release?
Well, I mean, my lawyers have been speaking on my behalf. I mean, whilst we're in jail, the lawyers speak on your behalf, you know, but in terms of express consent, I can't remember if I gave express consent. But I think that my lawyers also are Cameroonians. They are fine. They want a solution. Everybody wants a solution. I think having those in the governing council, everybody hopes that we can have a solution. So if they were saying that within the grand scheme of trying to find a solution, then I don't think there's anything wrong in them saying that, because all of us want to find a solution.
Are you for school resumption?
Yes, I'm for school resumption, because someday kids will go back to school. Okay, perhaps not today. I think everybody is for school resumption. I think even the guys at the governing council, I think even Skakuf, everybody wants school resumption. The problem is when. That's the issue. That's the issue. I think everybody knows that kids will go back to school. Everybody knows that kids going back to school is a good thing. Okay? But how do we continue the struggle, notwithstanding the fact that kids have gone back to school? How do we find, I think leadership has to re-strategize. You know, leadership has to sit and then try to come up with other means of continuing the struggle, you know, so that at least our children can go back to school, you know, whilst the struggle continues. Because the most important thing is the struggle. It's not about the kids, you understand. We need to ensure that the struggle continues. How do we continue the struggle whilst other facets of our society goes back to normal? As an Anglophones, I think our biggest commodity that we sell is our educational system. We used to Anglophonize Francophones through our educational system, but gradually, Francophones, our kids are being Francophonized, because let's not pretend. Those who have monies have sent their kids to Douala, Yaoundé, and Bafoussam. Some of them have sent their children abroad. Okay, so if it continues like this, they will keep on loading on us. Even the Anglophones who can afford, their kids will keep on loading us because they would have sent them abroad. They would have sent them to Douala, Yaoundé. But it's a position where I can only give my advice, let's say, to the governing council, you know, and I just give my advice. But it's for them to decide, to see what they can do. So I leave that to them.
So you are recognizing Siseko Ayok Tabe as a chairman of the governing council?
You see, I am somebody who respects each and every one, each and every groupings. There are lots of groupings in this struggle. Trust me, I have been in this struggle for close to like 18 years. I don't know anybody who is my age who has been as consistent in this struggle like myself. You know, I have people like Choyaba we were in Belgium around 2000, 2002, where we went to the EU Commission. I led the delegation with Albert Mukong to the European Parliament on this issue. And I wrote a thesis in 1999. I don't know where most people in this struggle were in 1999. On the rights of Southern Cameroonians to self-determination in international law. And I still zeroed in on the fact that the federation would be the best panacea to the problem. That was in 1999-2000 academic year. So I've been consistent, and there have been other groupings. In my house, I've received the people of the SCNC from Fongala Sadie, and I told him my position on things. I go to Moulin Jos Itumbe's house. I had a meeting with him, Professor Kassan Yangwe, and I told him that I understand. I have respect for each and every one in the struggle, but to me, this is my position. And I think that they respect my position. So I will respect each and every leader in the struggle. Akwanga is there, Seseku is there, Ayaba is there, Morris is there, Bo Herbert and Co. So all of us who are leaders, would have to respect each other. That is why I find it a bit disheartening when surrogates of other groupings attack others. I've told everybody or anybody who supports me that it is not helpful to attack any other leader in the struggle, because how is it beneficial to the struggle when you attack leader X? When you attack leader X, it means that his people also will attack you. So rather than fighting a common goal, we've taken our eye off the ball. We are now fighting each other. It's an Anglophone on Anglophone fight. You understand? This one is for federation. This one is for unity. They insult him. They'll burn the house. We don't need it. We need people to come together. And that is why in the coming days I'm proposing for an inter-Anglophone dialogue. The leaders should sit down and carve a way forward. The leaders should sit down and discuss. There's a lot of bitterness. There's a lot of hatred. There's a lot of backbiting. I'm sure you watched you saw the other one that went round viral on social media, that they gave me money and that I was supposed to betray the cause. Somebody whose only role in the struggle is a mobile phone and internet writes and you say shared as received. As we speak, I don't have an ID. As we speak, my ID has never been given you. As we speak, my EcoBank and my BSEC accounts are blocked. Go there and verify. Okay, as I don't have it. As we speak, I am monitored. My phones are tapped. The other day, I went to a cop to collect my friend's car. They refused. The person who I went to collect the car, they arrested him. He's detained. The car they have not given me. Even after the procurator said they should give me.
How did they know that you...
They have intelligence. They are following me. Okay?
You didn't go out of the country?
I didn't go out of the country. I went to a cop because since I left Nigeria in 96, I had not gone to it. I went to the village. And I felt that, okay, that road used to be nightmarish. I heard the road has been tarred. Let me go and see. I went with my car. I took an Okada. I have pictures. I'll send you the pictures. I was on top of a bent sikin. I went to the border. I spoke to the Nigerian customer. The other side just like couldn't start. Then I came back. But the police people were everywhere. So it is strange when the people that you've been fighting for your entire adult life, they write very unfounded information. At the same time, the government is putting you under enormous pressure. Your life is in danger. But for what? Because you served your people. Because you fought for your people. Because the struggle is my life. The struggle is in my blood. I sleep and I breathe the Anglophone struggle. I will not pretend it. Because if you go down in the history of this struggle, the strike that started on 11th of October, anybody who is honest as a lawyer will tell you that it was my brainchild. Because I was the one. The last common law lawyers conference in Kumba, Barrister Boba said it. I was the one who called for the meeting in Bamenda without informing the other 3 constituent assembly leaders why we're meeting in Bamenda. It was in Bamenda, in Bogda's house, that I said we should call a strike action. And when I posted it on the forum, I was attacked even by lawyers who said that we called for a strike action without informing them. You understand? So all of a sudden, at that time, I would not betray the cause. Today, why would I spend 8 months in jail and betray the cause? You know what it means to be in Nkongho for 8 months? It's easy to talk, but if you're not strong mentally, you break down. If you're not strong mentally, you leave Nkongho and you'll not be the same. But my head, I'm stronger than the people who are trying to destroy me. I'm stronger than those who felt that taking me in Nkongho, they would, in a way, they would cow me. I'm not changing my stance. I'm the same Agbor Balla who went to jail, and I'm the same Agbor Balla who left jail.
Federation.
Yes, I religiously believe that, a federation would address the issues. And that is what we said as common law lawyers even, that in the protection of our bicultural, bilingual, and bijural system, a federal structure would best protect.
How many states?
Well, I'm for a 2-state federation, but I'm a Democrat also. Meaning that I respect divergent opinions. There are people for 10, there are people for... I am a 2-stater. If I were the one taking the decision, I would go back to the 2-state federation. But it doesn't depend on me. And I respect the opinions of those who... I've met Anglophones who have told me that, no, Balla, your 2-state thing, we don't buy it, we'll buy 10-state. And being an exponent, a chief apostle of the argument of force and not the force of argument, I would try to convince them on the essence, the need for a 2-state. But I would respect religiously their opinion to state that they believe in a 10 state, they believe in a 4 state, they believe in a 20 state. Because we are building a society, we are building a country where divergent opinion should be the hallmark of a democracy. You know, we cannot build, you know, like Wole Soyinka said in The Swamp Dwellers, is it of any use changing one's law for another? You know, we cannot be moving from a dictatorship to get into another dictatorship. That is why I find it disgusting that people, when you disagree with them, they take it personal. No, it cannot be your way or the highway. Okay? If we want to build a society, we should expect and understand that people will think differently.
Okay. How can you analyze the events of September 22 and October 1st?
Horrible, sad, disgraceful. It was gross violation of human rights. We did not need that. The torture, the killings, the arrests, we didn't need it. It's not a good image to the country. I don't know whoever gave the decisions. I expect people to be tried. I expect players to rule. The number of people who were arrested, the number of people who were killed. I'm not just saying that because I've been to villages. I went to Mingo. I have videos. I have pictures. I went to Jiniko. Spoke to the victims. Their testimonies, when they tell you how they were shot, I think I almost cried. I almost cried when I went there. I went to Murphy. I saw things that happened. It was sad what happened, but we're going through a healing process. We need to die. We need to talk. We need to sit down. We need to go to the root causes of the problem and find a solution so that we don't get to the situation of 22nd September and 1st of October. That's why I'm praying that each and every one should be released. That is why, as president of FACLA, we created a task force headed by Barrister Nkongho. As we speak, at least 200 persons have been released. With the famous 8 months pregnant Lady Sola was released also as a result of the effort of the task force of the FACO Lawyers Association. So we are working in a very holistic angle. We work with lawyers, we work with civil society, we work with everybody to see that people are released and also to find a solution to the problems we are facing as a state.
Mm-hmm. If you're in favor of back to school, it looks like you're equally in favor of back to court. A call over. FACO Lawyers Association made a call over. Started last Monday. Many see this as you betraying the cause that the constituent associations of common law lawyers were supposed to meet. Those who called the strike action, they were supposed to meet, like Noella, Fakla, Mela, and Mala, to call off the strike action.
You see, Mr. HANSON, I'm the president of FACLA, okay? And unfortunately, I was not in the meeting. And if a majority of the association members voted that they should go back to work, it's not about Agbor Balla. It's not about my views. My own views are different, okay? If you ask me, I might tell you that perhaps the timing was wrong. But the whole idea of them going back to work, it's their right. And as a leader, if your members unanimously agree, I think 92 members were in attendance. We've hardly had a meeting with 92 members. If 92 members attended, from what I was briefed, and they agreed to go back to work, you as a leader, you are human rights activists, you are a Democrat, and we are working towards building a democratic society. You really expect that leader to come and overturn the decision of the General Assembly. These are things that we've been criticizing. Not so. We are talking about strong institutions and not strong people. So I come with the Agbor Balla, the strong man syndrome, and I overturn a decision taken by the General Assembly. How does that place us or me within the confines of the rule of law? You understand? These are things that, because when people say, these are basic questions that we have to ask ourselves. What would I have done? Would I have overturned the decision? Yes, the 4 constituent assemblies are supposed to meet, and I still think that they should meet. Because I had a meeting with the president of Mala, Madame Emilienne. I spoke to the vice president of Noella. I spoke to the vice president of Mela. I was constant communication that there is a need for us to meet. You understand? Not only about the strike, about to assess our profession. What is happening in our profession within the Southwest and Northwest. So let us not just pick on the fact that these lawyers voted to go to work. If you were in my position and you are a Democrat, not a cosmetic Democrat, and you are an exponent of respect of the rights of others to freely vote and decide what's good for them, would you have overturned the decision? Would you have done that? And some of our colleagues who are writing some of the things, I'll give you an example. Even before I was arrested, after the Ndawara incident, one of them called me that I should call off the strike. And I said, no, I will not do it. So today, they would be writing as if Agbor Balla is the problem. No. It's on record. And that same person who said they should call off the strike went, and Eyambe would attest to that fact. Eyambe went for a funeral of a colleague's mother in Bamenda, and they were telling him that Southwest is calling off the strike. So they too should call off the strike. Eyambe said no. Eyambe called me. I said, I'm shocked. So these are things that today, because people want to use social media to try to run others down. Okay, I'll tell you something. The day we had the common law lawyers meeting in Cuba, asked lawyers from the Northwest who came and told me that famous meeting was taking place in Bamenda. I was the one I called my comrade Tassan, that you people cannot give in when they have not addressed the problems of lawyers. It's on record. Okay? But today, born again members of the struggle, they want to destroy everybody who doesn't think like them. If you don't think like them, then you are a sellout. We have a problem in Anglophone Cameroon. We destroy our leaders. And that is something that must stop. Since the days of Chief Ayamba and Fofongala and Paluma, because these are people that I had meetings with them. When I was doing my mother's memorial in Bisoaba, Chief Ayamba was there. I had meetings with Paluma and Fofongala in his house in Tico. I learned from them. During the AAC one, I was a young boy, but Bishop used to be my mentor. Chief Takungwane and co. I worked tirelessly for them. From the days of the Boya Writers Club, the Anglophone Cameroon movement, I was a boy. I used to go and clean Bibi's house just to listen to Bibi. I was a disciple. And when he meets my mother in the market, he will always talk to my mother about the son that he has. You have a very intelligent guy. You know the way he speaks. He's very smart. He should just be focused. That's Bibi. So it's not today. I didn't get up in 2016. I didn't get up. I mean, you know, I've run the Center for Human Rights and Democracy. We've organized conferences on these issues.
Yes, and today you're out of jail. We have been seeing you moving around. Some have termed it presidential Balla. What is Balla up to?
Balla is up to doing what Balla has been doing for the past years. Balla is up to fighting for social justice. Balla is up to fighting for equality. Balla is up to fighting against marginalization, against injustice. Balla is up to fighting for his people, to protect and promote human rights, to fight for an equitable distribution of wealth, to fight for a better Cameroon for each and everyone. That's what Balla is doing. And Balla will keep on doing that until he gets into his grave. At no point in time, Balla will not be Balla. Because when Balla changes from Balla, then it's a different person. So Balla would really just do what he's doing. Because when Balla goes out and thinks about that murder, that lady in Yaoundé, we call him Mami in Pidgin, who gave me 2,000 francs in court. Say, my Pekin, you're doing a good job. When Balla goes to Alagbatu and somebody gives Balla 20,000 to buy fuel for the job you are doing. When Balla meets a lady in Bonaberi, stops and say, thank you, my Pekin. When Balla meets somebody in Yaoundé who greets him and says, you're doing a good job, it means Balla would always remain Balla. Because those are the things that matter to me. Those are the people that I'm fighting for. And that is, as I said earlier, that's the legacy I want to leave for posterity. Nobody thinks about Rockefeller as a millionaire. They think about Rockefeller as somebody who did charity. They think about Rockefeller as somebody who touched people's lives. And that's the same thing with Bill Gates. If I want to be remembered, I want to be remembered as somebody who touched people's lives. Somebody who inspired change. You know, not just cosmetic change, but progressive change.
You're not eyeing any position?
I am not. I am not eyeing any position in government. Okay? But it's within my fundamental rights, like yours, like each and every one, to aspire for something. Because it's a democratic right for you to aspire if you want to run in for elective.
But if they call you today and say, Agbor Balla, you are appointed as the Deputy Secretary General of the Presidency of the Republic, or a minister?
To be honest, if you ask me, if you get me up on my sleep, I would say thank you. I can serve the state in another capacity. I can still serve this country without being a minister. And even if you are a minister, what kind of minister? How do you effect change?
But will you accept a ministerial position?
I will not say yes, I will not say no. But for now, if you ask me today, with everything on the ground, I will say no. But I still like to serve my country. I like to serve my country in another capacity. You need to be a minister to serve the country. We have civil society organizations doing a wonderful job. During the days of the consortium, did we need to be ministers to serve, to fight for our people? It's this lust for positioning, it's this lust to be a minister that is driving us where we are. Because everybody backstabs everybody. Everybody tells the head of state what he wants to hear, so that to be in his good books. I don't think I have survived all these years without being in government. And I think I can survive for the remaining of my life without being in government. My dad used to always say, he will never expect, he's never disappointed.
Okay, now Barrister Nkongho Felix Agbor, you are in favor of back to school. You are in favor for a call over as far as the lawyer strike action is concerned. Now, why are you not joining the other elite who are on the ground to also push for this?
The way you're saying that, I'm in favor. Yes, I want kids to go back to school. Whether it's tomorrow, whether it's next year, I want kids to go back to school. I'm not saying that they will go back tomorrow, okay? But I wanted to put that. I want kids to go back to school. I think that lawyers should go back to work. Whether it's today, whether it's tomorrow, they will end up going back to work, because realistically, the state of normalcy will always prevail over the state of abnormalcy. That's a fact. And when you look at the economic realities, when you look at the hardship, it's easy. You know, they say it's easy to make art than it's easy to criticize art than to make art. It's easy to criticize when somebody's in a leadership position who takes a decision. Okay, but at the end of the day, if you're there, you ask yourself lots of questions. You put everything together. Why would I not join them? Because to me, I feel it's an exercise in futility. To me, I feel that it's a waste of state resources, because the people who they have sent on the ground, they are not people, they don't have any legitimacy. They cannot find a solution. And it's not a CPDM affair, it's a state affair, meaning that if they want to talk to Anglophones, they should have Southern Cameroonians that cut across the board. They should have people of the clergy, they should have civil society, they should have lawyers, they should have members of all the facets of the society. But if you look at the list for the Southwest, it's like the normal list that goes out to campaign for the ruling party. And to me, I'm not against the whole process of dialogue. I'm against those, the caliber of people. There are people who are leading the delegation who are xenophobic. We know people who have made statements against Northwesterners in the Southwest region. And then you put them to go out and try to bring peace. We know people, tell me, in all the people, for example, the list in the Southwest, tell me any of them who've condemned government for what is happening. Tell me any of them who've spoken about the arrest of our children. Tell me any of them who stood when we were kidnapped from the Southwest and taken to Yaoundé and termed terrorists. Which of them has condemned the government for the killing of our people, for the cutting off of internet? Tell me one of them. And do you think they have legitimacy in our eyes?
We always have somebody like Senator Mbela Moki, who is moderate.
Yes, and I appreciate him for that. Call a spade a spade. I called him on and I thanked him that he's doing a wonderful job. He can do better, but at least from those who are people of the system, the systemic way that they think, you know, it's like Fela would describe them, you know, Fela would describe them as, you know, zombie known in one way. That's like everybody thinks alike. You understand? They've reduced themselves to robots. You know, if you cannot understand how at least 700 Anglophones are in detention in the Southwest and Northwest, and nobody, the head of the so-called Bilingualism Commission, who has happened to be a prime minister, a former prime minister, has never uttered a word against. We have at least 100 people who've been killed. Nobody has uttered a word to condemn it. And you send them to go and talk to us. Are you insulting us? Is it not sheer provocation? What are they taking us for? It's an insult. I will repeat it. It's an insult to us. And at the end of the day, I'm convinced that nothing would happen unless and until they have people who have the legitimacy of the Anglophones. Unless we have an all-inclusive dialogue, meaning that the people of SCACO, the governing council, the people of the Outlawed Consortium, the clergy, the civil society, those who talk about federation, those who talk about independence, even those who talk about the unitary state, unless they sit down, unless everybody is on the table, a round table conference, a national dialogue, to have constitutional provisions which will never be changed. For example, if we have a rotational presidency between the two peoples that came together, and I insist, the two peoples, I am not into the fallacy of between the 10, no, because historically it was the Southern Cameroon, so West Cameroon and East Cameroon, that came together to form United Republic of to form the Federal Republic of Cameroon, which today, because of they bastardized everything and they changed the name, they gone back to La République, the name which was used by East Cameroon before we came together. So there is no way, okay, if we have a rotational presidency between the two persons, we have a genuine federation in this country, and the vice president also, the second in command, if the first in command is from former East Cameroon, the second in command will be from former Southern Cameroon, and vice versa. It will make our people feel that they belong. It will make them feel that they are part of this country. And also, what is wrong in having a dual nationality for those people in the diaspora? Give it to them. You want to build an economy? Get everybody on board. They are Cameroonians. You're no more Cameroonian than another person because you have only one nationality. Grant them amnesty, grant them dual nationality. Talk about, because the diasporans, Cameroonians, Anglophones are a lot. Because of the frustration we have in the country, the marginalization, the lack of opportunities, most of our people have gone out of the country. And because of the reality living abroad, they have a second, but they are all Cameroonians at heart. So why don't you allow them to have a dual nationality? These are things, I mean, it's not like just, but these amongst others would help in finding a solution. And that is why I repeat that if we have a broad-based dialogue, a genuine dialogue, not a master-servant kind of dialogue, a dialogue where all the cards are on the table. Okay, each and every one gives it.
Where even secessionists are invited?
Yes. I don't call them secessionists. I mean, I think a politically correct language would say restorationists. Those who want to restore. Because everybody wants independence. Independence is a very emotional thing. I'm sure when you were growing up at times, when you get frustrated and when your parents say, no, I want to have my independence. It used to happen in boarding school where Hanover was like when we got our independence. Not so. Everybody likes it. I want it. You want it. Everybody wants it. But how do we get to independence? That's where the problem lies. Okay, that's why I think that federation could be a path to self-governance. It could prepare us. It might not be in my lifetime. It could prepare us for whatever outcome. But I still think that nobody should be ostracized. Nobody should be refused the opportunity to come to the table and discuss, because you don't dialogue with necessarily friends. Okay, we're all Cameroonians. There's a situation. I mean, the Americans are talking to the people in Palestine, in the Middle East, not so in Ireland, the Irish Republic. They discuss the fact people to got skilled people in Colombia. They are talking about finding a solution. Why can't we bring everybody on the table in Cameroon and find a solution? Okay,
Barrister, before we go, the candidature of Barrister Akeremuna, can this be the solution to what many, or even you said there should be like some sort of rotation between the former East and the former West Cameroon?
There are many candidates who are Anglophones. There are many candidates who will still have to announce. I am somebody who is more interested in institutions. I don't want to focus on a particular candidate, because let's wait until everybody declares. Okay, we've had Ayapo ran the last time. Kawala ran also. We are also Anglophone. Senior Batonier Barrister Akeremuna will be running. Let's wait and see the other candidates. You can always make an assessment when you know everybody who is running. It's not very prudent to jump the gun. So I'll wait at the end of the day, come back a few months before the elections. I'll give you my assessment. I'll give you my honest views. But for now, I cannot really make a statement because, one, I've not read his manifesto. I need to know what he has to offer, and then I would then know what the other candidates are. Then I'll come to my conclusion.
All right. Now, before we go, there should be dialogue. That is the only solution to the Anglophone problem today. That is your stance.
not only dialogue, there should be genuine dialogue, because you could dialogue. You know, what happened, the tripartite was supposedly a dialogue, but it was a sham. We're talking about a veritable dialogue where the people of the civil society, the dialogue doesn't need to be headed by somebody from government, but somebody who has the respect of the people, the respect of the of Cameroonians. So yes, there should be dialogue, but we say yes to genuine dialogue, not just to one cosmetic dialogue, to make the international community feel that they are talking. Like what is happening now is just to show to the world that, you see, we are talking to them, they don't want to talk. But we have passed that stage where, you know, and I always say, you know, we are in 2017, but government is always behaving as if we are in the 60s. They still have a 60 mentality to address to the 21st century problem. We have passed. They too should evolve in their mentality. With this age and time, with the supersonic highway called the internet, you cannot. We are not in the days where you had only one TV or radio station where you can tell somebody what you want the person to believe. We have passed that stage, and I think they should also mentally evolve in the way that they are finding a solution to the problem.
All right, it was a pleasure being with you in tonight's edition of the program, Barrister Nkongho Felix Agbor.
Well, it's an honor to have me on your program. I told you several times. You remember I was supposed to be your first guest when this program started, but because of the consortium and how I was busy, I ended up not being your first guest. But I think that I want to thank Equinoxe. I want to thank the media landscape, because I think that they did a wonderful job in fighting for our people, and they should continuously fight. It's not easy. You guys are supposed to be is it the fourth estate? It's supposed to be the fourth estate. So you have to live up to the expectation also, especially in an era where there's a lot of social media competition. I want to say thank you, and I want to thank each and every one who supported us during our very difficult period, the prayers, our brothers and sisters in the diaspora, the religious organization, each and every one who supported. But I also wish to urge them to keep on praying, that we have lots of our brothers who are still in jail. Let's pray for the souls who have died, and let's pray for the country, that we should have a veritable dialogue, we should have a veritable peace, so that at least we can go to our normal activities, and the love that we used to have in the country, we should keep on sharing this love. Thank you.
All right. It was equally a pleasure being with you, knowing that you enjoyed this edition of the program, The Insight, on Equinoxe Television. We're inside the residence of the President of the Fako Lawyers Association, the former legal advisor of the United Nations to Afghanistan, former legal advisor of the International Criminal Court to Sierra Leone, the President of the North Cameroon Anglophone Civil Society Consortium, Vice President of the African Bar in charge of Central Africa. He's a man with many titles. Barrister Nkongho Felix Agbor. Thanks for watching. Take our rendezvous next week Sunday if you did enjoy the program. Goodbye.